If you're planning a trip to Madeira, congratulations, it is beautiful. There are not many places on this planet where you can hike above the clouds, swim in volcanic pools, and spot wild whales and dolphins in a single day. But where should you go? What should you do? What should you experience? Well, this video is perfect because I put together the 11 best experiences that I think you should check out when you go to Madeira. So let's begin this list right now. The first 3 will be in Funchal, the main town, and then we'll start going and exploring other parts of the island. So number 1, and my favorite thing that I did in Madeira and in the Azores nearby, was whale watching. This beautiful part of the world is nestled right in the middle of the Atlantic, and whales and dolphins migrate through this area pretty much all year round. Fun fact, there are over 20 species of whales and dolphins living in Madeira, so your chances of seeing them are high, although it's not guaranteed. I booked to go on a smaller catamaran. There was around 15 of us, and the tour was over 3.5 hours. We went out to sea, we sailed along the coast, we saw whales, and it was just amazing. And then towards the end, we also found a nice sheltered bay where we were able to have 15 to 20 minutes to jump off and swim in the sea. It was absolutely incredible. Here are a few cons about the whale watching. It's not guaranteed that you'll see whales because sometimes it can be a bit choppy. The waves might obstruct the views, and the whales and the dolphins might not be in the area on that day. Also, the weather can make things challenging. If it's very windy and blustery, then there'll be waves, there'll be swells, and it might make you uncomfortable, especially if you get seasick. But here are some tips when it comes to the whale watching. The first one is go in the morning to maximize your chance of having better weather. Just in the afternoon, winds tend to pick up a bit, so earlier mornings for calmer seas, and also bring seasickness tablets. Don't forget that if you're planning to go whale watching and you do suffer from a little bit of seasickness. Bonus travel tip for you: when I booked, I went down to the marina and I saw which companies use the big catamarans and therefore have lots of people on board, and I made sure not to book that one. I'll link the exact one that I booked. I thought they were great. Smaller boat means less people, means more space to enjoy the views, and yeah, you just don't want to feel like a sardine packed on a big catamaran with 150 other guests. So yeah, go for the smaller catamarans. Honestly, if you've never seen a whale before, it is such a magical and an emotional experience. So if you're with your family, make sure, if you're in Madeira, go on a whale watching tour. They're reasonably priced. I really think it's great value. And when you see a whale or a dolphin, fingers crossed you do, you'll just never forget that experience for the rest of your life. Next up is you've got to ride the cable car up into the botanical gardens. These cable cars are fantastic. They link downtown Funchal to the higher neighborhoods in the hills, and you can get a bus up there quite easily, but the cable car is just a lot more fun. And at the top of one of the cable cars, again, all of this is linked in the description, is the most beautiful botanical garden. It's around 12 to 15 euros, I believe, per person. And such a beautiful garden, so much to explore, fantastic for the kids. It will just awaken their imagination. And there are flowers, there are birds, there are trees from all over the world. There's a gorgeous Japanese garden. Honestly, it's one of the most beautiful botanical gardens I've ever been to. But here are some travel tips. The first one is get there as early as you can. Literally, the first cable car of the morning is what you really want to be getting on, because once you get up to the botanical gardens, there's less crowds, more time for you to enjoy nature, and then when it's time to come back down, you'll be able to hopefully have a cable car to yourself because you've gotten up nice and early. The botanical gardens actually have 2,000 different species of plant. Amazing. There are a few cons with the botanical gardens, and that is crowds. Now, I got there nice and early, but by the time I got down around 11 o'clock, the cruise ship had rolled in, and there were hundreds, if not thousands, of tourists trying to get up there on the cable car. There was a long queue, and it looked a bit stressful. So getting there early is the key. Number 3 is make sure to eat local in Funchal. Avoid the chain restaurants. Like, they've got McDonald's and they've got KFC. Don't go there. My friend Joe, who lives in Funchal, took me to his favorite local restaurant, and it was incredible. So much so that we ate there 3 times. Just the most amazing fish dishes, the best garlic bread I've ever had. They call it bolo de caco, and it is just the most delicious bread you've ever had in your entire life. And there are loads of these little canteens, these little restaurants. They're normally family owned, locally run, and just an amazing place to sit down, have a cold beer, and have some delicious seafood fresh from the Atlantic. Persevere and keep going, keep looking. Don't settle for a tourist restaurant with tourist prices right down the marina. Yes, they have beautiful views, and it's really nice to be hanging down there with the trees, lining the streets and the cobbled roads and everything, but just keep going. 5 minutes more, get out of downtown central area, and you'll start to find the more budget friendly, the more local and delicious restaurants. One dish you have to try is espetada. It is such a local dish here. They put these delicious marinated chunks of meat, depending if you want beef, sometimes lamb, sometimes chicken, and then they hand over this long stick of meat for you to cook yourself over the wooden fires. Really unique, very salty, and so delicious though. Oh my god. If you do struggle to find a local restaurant on your own, just ask some of the locals, where do they eat? Or again, you can check the link in the description to the exact restaurant that I really like. I promise you, it's only about a 10-minute walk from the marina. So those three were all in Funchal. So let's get on our bike or in our rental car or jump in a taxi and start exploring some other parts of the island now. Number 4 is swimming in the beautiful volcanic ocean pools, specifically the one in Porto Moniz, but there are loads across the island. These are just incredibly beautiful and such a great experience. These volcanic rock pools with crystal clear Atlantic water are just beautiful, natural, dramatic, and incredibly refreshing on a hot day. These pools were formed when this island was created thanks to the volcanic activity. They look striking, they look beautiful, but there is some safety involved. They have put concrete walls around the lip, and yeah, there are places to sunbathe. They have lifeguards. It is, you know, it's definitely not your typical outdoor swimming pool with lanes and a diving board. This is a real rustic, beautiful part of Madeiran culture. Something to note, however, is the pools can close when it is bad weather, when it's super windy, when the waves are crashing from the ocean into the pool. They will just close it, and so even on a nice sunny day, if the winds are up and the swells are high, they will close. So check the weather before, especially driving all the way to Porto Moniz, which is on the other side of the island. Beautiful drive, by the way, holy moly. Number 5 is to spend one night in Seixal. This is a quiet, beautiful village surrounded by cliffs and waterfalls. It's totally peaceful, completely immersive, and literally is based on the volcanic lava that spilled into the sea, cooled over thousands of years, and then they've built the village on it. Again, if you have a drone, it's just one of the most magical places you've ever seen. The reason why I'm saying you should spend a night there and book a hotel is it's nice to pass through, don't get me wrong, on a day trip or maybe in your rental car, pull over, explore it. But there's just something about staying overnight, waking up in the morning light and watching the sunset, being in Seixal for those golden hour moments. It's just so more immersive, and it's just such an epic part of the island. It really feels like you're in the set of Jurassic Park or something. The cons to Seixal, there's not really much to do, especially in the evening. There's only a handful of restaurants, and some of them are not open all year round. So for that reason, Seixal is more for your nature lovers than, say, your social butterflies. There's not really a lot to do, especially after dark. A quick message from the sponsor of this video, Squarespace, the perfect place to go to build a website in 2025 or beyond. And honestly, it is so much fun and easy to build a website on Squarespace. I built my website on Squarespace and it looks fantastic. And if you're looking to build a website for your blog, for your small business, whatever it might be, go to squarespace.com and start building it completely for free. They have amazing award-winning templates. You can choose one and then amend the text, add your own pictures, add your own videos, and start selling products, start selling services. Or you can use their incredible AI feature, Design Intelligence. The AI will ask you a few quick questions. You know, what's the website for, who you're trying to reach, like what should it look like, and then the AI will build it for you, and everything's done. All you need to do now is just, you know, go in and just finalize things and trim it up and get it to exactly how you want it. When you're ready to go live, because it's completely free to build a website, but when you need to get ready to go live to the world, come back to this video or go to squarespace.com/Paddy Doyle and you'll get 10% off your first website or domain with Squarespace. Thanks to Squarespace for the sponsored section of this video and for supporting this channel to go to beautiful places like Madeira. So let's get back to the list. Number 6 is going on a tour with a local. I went on a great tour, only half a day, but it was fantastic, with Madeira Green and Blue. It's run by a local man who is fantastic and extremely knowledgeable of the island. And this is the best part about going on tours like these, because the locals, they know the best places to go away from the mass tourists and crowds of Funchal. There are loads of really famous hikes in Madeira. There are loads of levadas. There are loads of waterfalls. But most of the tourists go to the top 3. And so those places get really busy. And those attractions get very overwhelming. But by going on a tour with a local, he'll say, no, I know a more beautiful viewpoint. I know a more beautiful, quieter hike that you'll also be able to do. And when you have someone who takes care of your needs, it's tailored. Having your own tour guide means you can be totally flexible, and you can message them ahead of time and come up with an itinerary that's perfect for your trip. Even if you're going to Madeira on a cruise and you only have a day, you can still message Madeira Green and Blue, and they will pick you up from downtown in a Jeep, in a 4x4, and then you can come up with an itinerary together and then organize pricing and things like that later in their DMs. The Instagram link to connect with the one that I really recommend, Madeira Green and Blue, is in the description. Just bear in mind that these tours aren't exactly super cheap, okay? This is not for your budget backpacker. They are bespoke days out with a local, so they are a little bit more expensive. But having said that, this is better for the local economy, more sustainable, and you're putting your money directly in the pockets of the locals. Number 7 is going on a Levada hike. Madeira is very famous for levadas, and they are irrigation systems. Basically, there is a rain shadow, so one half of the island gets a lot more rain than the other half, and so they've built over hundreds of years these levadas that funnel water from one side of the island down to the other, and there are lots of beautiful hikes that go alongside them. These hikes are relatively flat, just a little bit downhill, because obviously the water has to flow down, and they take you through the beautiful majestic forests, quieter areas. There's normally somewhere to park your car at the beginning, and then when you get to the end you can turn around and come back and then get back to your car. Or if you're on a day tour, they'll organize someone picking you up at the other end. And just do your research, because there are lots of Levada hikes, and definitely the more famous ones will be much more busy, and there can be a little bit of foot traffic, and it can be a little bit tricky and annoying letting people pass. It's a bit tight. All of the Levada hikes that I did, it was quiet, there was nobody there, and that's because we just kind of went on bespoke local guide tours who knew where to take us. Just be aware, they are quite narrow, and if you do suffer from vertigo, you might have a few hair-raising moments. But if you wear proper trail shoes, go early enough to avoid the crowds, you'll have a great time. It is such a beautiful part of Madeira, going on a Levada hike. I did so many, and they're so beautiful and magical. Number 8 is going up to Pico Ruivo, the highest point of the island, to enjoy a small hike, quite challenging hike, but it's not too difficult, not too far anyway. But the views, if the weather permits, is unbelievable. Pico Ruivo is 1,862 meters tall, so it's not like you're climbing Everest or anything, don't worry. It's relatively small in terms of mountains around the world, but it still is just so epic up there. If you are planning to go up there early in the morning for sunrise or sunset, expect a little bit more crowds. And if you're not sure if it's worth going up there, maybe the weather looks a bit dodgy, there are webcams where you can just search and see what it looks like live. And then if the views are good, if there's no clouds up there, then you know it's good to go up there. And then, there's a few different hikes. There is a car park up there, guys. If you rent a car or you're maybe on a tour, they can park, or you can park at the top and then do around about a 2.5 kilometer hike to the summit. And quite tricky, you have to be careful, but the views up there are just so worth it. And then to get from the car park to the top, turn around, come back, is probably about a 90-minute hike. And just be aware, the biggest con of coming up here is the weather can flip on a dime. It might be sunny, it might be beautiful, but the wind might change, a storm might blow in. So just make sure you pack rain jacket and supplies in case you do get held up in some bad weather. Number 9 is doing the beautiful coastal walk. It starts in Porto de Cruz, and the hike is called Vereda do Lorano, and it is just the most beautiful coastal walk with epic drop-offs. And again, the views are incredible, and we just had the most beautiful time. But if you do have vertigo, if you're scared of heights, this one's going to test you, because some of the drop-offs are insane. There's also a few sections where you don't have that much shade, and there are no places to resupply your water. So bring your own snacks, bring your own water, and bring your sense of adventure. But if you can, honestly, this is one of the most beautiful parts of the world. I'm just going to bring the microphone a little bit closer to my mouth because behind me is a giant storm that's just blown in. I live in Bangkok, by the way, and it's rainy season, and I just don't want you to hear the rain whistling out the window. Fun fact, by the way, this trail was once used to connect farming villages before the roads reached this side of the island, and honestly, it's just so amazing to walk on this beautiful hike. Just remember, bring plenty of water, bring your sense of adventure. Top tip as well, you can do this one way. You don't have to turn around and do it all the way back. So you can start in Porto de Cruz, hike up and along the coastal hike, and then down into the town of Machico. You can also order a taxi at the end, or vice versa, come the other way and then get a taxi from Porto de Cruz back to Funchal. Bloody hell, lightning and everything. Number 10 is the beautiful Skywalk. Not too far from Funchal, but definitely worth a look. This is Europe's highest sea cliff with a glass platform, instant adrenaline and insane views. Top tip is to go at golden hour sunset, which obviously if it's in the summer is quite late. So maybe push your dinner plans back a bit, because honestly, if you're there for sunset, it is just beautiful. But because it is quite close and easily accessible from Funchal, lots of tourists go there, so it can feel really touristy, especially when 3 or 4 coachloads of tourists arrive at the same time. So just be prepared for crowds, but if you get there at the right time of day and you're lucky, you can have it almost to yourself. And just, oh yeah, the views are beautiful. This cliff is over 580 meters high, and then the Skywalk was opened in 2012 as a free public attraction, which is again one of the reasons why it gets quite busy up there. And the final one, number 11, is a bonus one for all of you crazy hikers out there. You're going to need a lot of energy for this one. But number 11 is hiking across the entire island of Madeira. Me and my friend Joe, we did it, and we documented the whole experience in a video on YouTube. I'll link it below. It's on my YouTube channel. We started in Porto Moniz and we hiked along the coast up into the mountains and back along to the other side. It took us 7 days and we stayed in hotels throughout the entire journey. Yeah, it's a big commitment, and that's why it's at the end. But if you do want to learn more about what it's like to hike across Madeira on foot, then I'll link my 59-minute documentary that I filmed below in the description, and you can go learn what it's like to hike from one side of Madeira to the other. An incredible once-in-a-lifetime experience. I would do it again though, to be honest. It was so much fun. These are my 11 experiences. I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope it was useful. The description's going to be your go-to source for more information, links, and more specifics. And I just really hope you have a safe, pleasant, amazing time in Madeira. It's one of the most gorgeous places I've ever been. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe below. It's free to do, and it will really help this video reach more people trying to get good information about their trip to Madeira. Bye.